Here we have one of the EOC questions from our second review. It says the area of the rectangle shown in the diagram below is 170 feet. It's giving us the rectangle right here, and then it's asking us for the perimeter. So it's giving us one thing, the area, and then asking for another thing, the perimeter. This is a really long and drawn out problem, so stay with me one step at a time, and if you get lost, you can pause the video at any time and go back. So the first thing that it's giving us is the area. It's telling us what the area is. We know the formula for the area of a rectangle is length times width. The area is 170 feet. The length is 3x plus 2. And the width is 2x. So here's the length, here's the width. We're multiplying them in order to get the area that's given to us here. So in order to start solving this equation, we have to get rid of these parentheses. The easiest way to do that is by going ahead and distributing. So when we distribute, we end up getting 170 equals 6x squared plus 4x. So I'm looking at this equation right now and I'm thinking, okay, I have an x squared, I have an x value, and the only way I can solve this is by setting the equation equal to 0 and factoring. So I'm going to take this 170, I'm going to move it to the other side in order to make this equation equal 0. So when I move it to the other side, I have minus 170 on both sides. So that gets me 0 equals 6x squared plus 4x minus 170. Now whenever you factor, the first thing you have to do is look for GCF. So looking at this equation right here, my factor is, or my GCF is 2. That's the greatest factor that can divide into each of these. So once we divide 2 into everything, we get 3x squared plus 2x minus 170. So for the sake of saving room, I'm going to briefly explain how we factor this and then show you what we get once we factor it. Before, we've seen videos about how to factor this by using the x factor, putting them inside the box, that's called the box method, and then factoring out a GCF. You can go to another video, or if you have a hard time and don't understand how to factor this alone, go ahead and shoot me an email or a message on Edmodo, and I can go ahead and make a video entirely about how to factor just this one part. So when I factor, it's going to end up getting me 3x plus 17 times x minus 5. So the next step would be to use the zero product property and set each one of these factors equal to 0 and solve. But the cool thing about working with area and perimeter is you cannot have a negative area, you cannot have a negative distance. So this right here cannot be negative, x has to be positive. So if you look at this factor right here, if we set it equal to 0, we would have to subtract 17 on both sides of the equal sign, and the result would be a negative number. So this factor actually doesn't work at all. The second one, however, does. Because it's a negative number, if we set it equal to 0, we can add 5 to both sides, and then we would end up with x equals 5. So now that we have what x equals, we can go ahead and find the perimeter. The perimeter is typically given to us as 2 lengths multiplied together plus 2 widths. And the reason why is because we're adding all 4 sides of the rectangle. We have 2 lengths that we're adding together and 2 widths. So when we add all this stuff together, we end up getting the perimeter total. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite that in a way that fits this actual problem. Our P is going to equal 2 times the length, which is 3x plus 2, plus 2 times the width, which is 2x. Because of the sake of saving room again, I'm going to go ahead and in the next step, I'm just going to take this x equals 5 and plug it into the x values in this equation right here. So when I do that, I get P equals 2 times 3x, x is 5, so 3 times 5 is 15, plus 2 times 2x, x is 5, so 2 times x is going to give us 10. Now I'm going to keep simplifying. Over here, inside these set of parentheses, that's going to simplify to 17, so I get 2 times 17 plus 20. 2 times 17, I'm going to write up here, is 34 plus 20. When we add that up, our final answer is 54. So our total perimeter for the entire rectangle is going to be C, 54.